What's going on, everybody? This is Scott, also known as ChaChingKing, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to do your very first listing on eBay. I'm going to show you how to figure out about how much it's going to sell for, how much you should list it for. I'm going to show you how I take photographs. I'm going to show you how to get those photographs into your listing. I'm going to show you how to choose which shipping service to use. And then finally, we're going to make that listing go live. So for the purposes of selecting your first item, I don't want you to go out and buy a bunch of things. Until you've got a proven business plan that's working for you, you don't want to spend a lot of money getting things to list. There's probably things in your home right now that you can start with. I've chosen one at random that honestly I know very little about, and it's this right here. This is a Samsung Galaxy camera. Let's find out how much should I list this thing for. So what we're going to do, we're going to pop over to eBay and we're going to search for this item right here. And one of the best ways to search a camera or something like that is to find the model number, because a lot of things can look very similar but have wildly different prices. So the model number on this one, EK-200, I think this is it right here. Okay, so once I have searched for the item, it's going to bring up how many of these things are listed. And when I look at this, it looks like there's 94 of them listed. And there may be some differences in color. There may be some, this one says new open box. Mine is used. I don't have the box for it. And I don't even have charging cables, but it just charges with a USB. But it does power on. So I am going to come down here and I'm going to narrow this down a little bit. I want to put used because mine is used and it does work. So now there's 33. Now here's the thing. When I'm looking at this, this only tells me what people are asking for it. That does not tell me what it sells for. So I am going to scroll down here and I am going to click sold items. Remember, there was 33 listed. Let's see how many have sold. There are 46 sold. So, and keep in mind, I'm not worried about the math. What I am looking for, if there's 33 listed and none sold, it doesn't look like they're selling very fast. If there's 33 listed and more than 33 sold, that looks like they're selling pretty quick. So this is a good item for me to start with. And I want to go and I want to find, these are all pre-owned and these are ended recently. You got a lot of different ways you can search this. I can also put highest first, like what caused them to be the most expensive. Looks like the top end is about $250. And if I go lowest first, it looks like $75 when they did it on bids. I've got whole videos about choosing buy it now over auction. And let me just tell you the secret. Don't list anything for auction until you know exactly what you're doing. For auction, you need things that have an extremely high sell-through rate and that there's no other supply. And when you put yours up, there's going to be a ton of interest in it. So, but it looks like this is a pretty solid $100 item. The condition on mine is truly spectacular. So I'm probably going to price this at $175 or so. I'm going to change the whole ad up, but I like starting from somebody else's ad that's sold because I know that their ad was successful. I like this one that it says tested, so I may stick with that. Once we get the listing started, then it's time for us to insert our photographs into this. So let's go to where I take my photographs, let's get some photos, and let's get them uploaded. Anytime you're taking pictures, I use the 1:1 format, and I want to take really clear pictures. I'm using pretty cheap backdrops, and I'm going to turn that about 1/4 of a turn each time because I want them to see the whole thing. And then I will also turn it on so that they can see that the screen looks good. So I have every side. I'm also going to lay it down. You are allowed to include up to 24 pictures in your eBay listing. And it is by far the best way for you to show. Let me put something in front of that so they can see it. This is like Inception. That looks really good. Let's go ahead and enter the pictures into our listing. Most of the time when I list from the computer, and a lot of times my pictures are on my phone. And so how do I get the pictures from my phone to the computer? What I do is I scroll all the way down and I put save for later, just like that. Now that I've got this saved as a draft on my computer, I'm going to open that draft on my phone. I open the eBay app, and then if I scroll down, I'm going to see my my draft right there. I'm going to open that up, and now I'm going to upload my photos. And it is as simple now as clicking on each one of these things that I took pictures of and click done. And at this point, it will upload them to the computer. There are faster ways to do this, especially if you're doing them in bulk. But honestly, Melody and I aren't aiming to list 20, 30, 40 items a day. We list a handful of items a day. And for us, this is just so easy that this is normally the way they do it. So once I've got my pictures uploaded, I'm just going to click done. And now all I have to do is where it says listing summary right here, I'm just going to back out of it. And it saved it as a draft. Now, when I go back to and I resume this draft, check this out. All my pictures are in there. So here's the thing. You can easily take your phone, plug it into your computer, and have a temporary file on your desktop and you transfer them all over. But a lot of times, Melody and I, we're working at our own pace when we want. So I think this is a good main photo, but I do want to show you very quickly how to edit this. If I click on this, the editing software in eBay is not bad. The magic wand will do what it thinks needs to be done. Let me show you what that does. And actually, that is overexposed. It doesn't look right. So what I do want to do is this one right here, the crop button. On my main photo, I want this as big as I can get it. I want that to be nice and large. That looks better to me. So that one's done. And I don't really need to edit every single photograph. But keep in mind, we copied somebody else's ad, and we got to go through it very carefully and make sure that there are no mistakes that show up in this. Color of mine is black. This is not applicable. And I'm not going to answer most of the questions because I'm using somebody else's ad that already worked. I'm going to put very nice used condition and tested and working. Normally what I do for my description, I copy the title and I paste that into the description. And then I also copy whatever condition notes I put, and I put those into my description. And buy it now, I'm going to put $174.99. I've only got one. My eBay managed payments, I only have a couple of them. This one down here does not require immediate payment. The one with most of mine requires immediate payment. I use this one when I'm doing auctions and things like that. So we're going to use that one. I allow offers on mine, but I don't turn on a minimum. Here's the best thing about allowing offers. And yeah, I'm going to get some lowball offers. I'm going to get some people that really, really try to get this cheap. But here's the thing about that. I can find out what kind of customer they are when they send me an offer. I get a chance to go look at not their feedback that they've received, but the feedback that they've left. And I think that is crucial, especially when you're first getting started. If you pull up their feedback and the feedback they leave is full of negatives and returns and things like that, that's probably not somebody you want to do business with. So just use that cautiously. I mean, you're trying to weed out people that use feedback like a weapon. Allowing offers really truly allows me to have better control over my day. If nothing's selling and I get a decent offer from somebody with decent feedback, I'm probably going to take it. As far as shipping goes, this is probably going to fall in that 2 to 4 pound range after I box this up. And I do have videos for how to create shipping policies. So I typically, because I'm going to charge a flat rate for my shipping, I typically put the upper end of this. That way, if it's going overseas or something like that, I won't have underestimated. And this box is probably going to fit into a, let's see, I will probably put that in a 10 by 10 by 6, something like that. You can use whatever size box you have. You don't have to use a post office box. If you're using Ground Advantage, you cannot use priority mail supplies. If you're going to use priority mail supplies, you would have to go down and select one that is made for priority mail. So I'm going to leave mine on Ground Advantage. And here is my return policy. And let me explain. Oh, first, let me talk about eBay International Shipping. Once you are established, eBay will automatically enroll you into their international shipping, and that has a ton of benefits and one major downside. The benefits are eBay handles all the returns. Like, you won't eat anything coming back from Italy. eBay takes care of all of it, and you won't get a refund. Also, international buyers can't leave you negative feedback. At least that's the way that I've understood it, and that's the way it's been explained. You don't have to do any customs reports, none of that. That is all out of your hands. eBay works with the customer to cover all that. Here's the major downside, is that eBay charges for that service. They charge the customer for that service. So you will run off some buyers because this is more expensive than you taking care of that stuff. I turn it on and I leave it on, and the people that it hurts the most are the Canadian buyers. They just really get a bad deal. I hope that that someday gets sorted out. Let's talk about returns, about a return policy. If you say no returns, all a buyer has to be willing to do is lie in order to force a return anyway. All they have to say is the item wasn't as described, and they get a return anyway. The only people you're going to run off by having no returns are honest people. Some people just want an assurance that if something really doesn't work or doesn't work out for them, that they can get a return. So I have 30-day money-back return policy. I have them paying the return shipping, and I normally, if it's just a regular person and they're not doing anything sketchy, I normally return that too. And so I would probably be better off to put free returns, but I didn't have a good feeling about it. Which brings me to a really important point for all of this. When you run your own business, it always seems like it'll be someone like me, somebody on YouTube, or somebody you know, or somebody you don't know, and they know better than you, and everybody's going to tell you what you should do for your business. Free returns sticks in my craw. I feel like I get more returns. I feel like they're frivolous. I feel like I'm paying for people to try on my stuff, or paying for them to wear my vintage stuff to a party and then they send it back. I just don't like it. And here's the thing. The algorithm probably likes it better, but this is my business. I make sure this fits me. When you build your business, you take all of the recommendations that somebody like me has made, and you decide whether or not they work for you. You make it fit you, and you don't look back, because ultimately, when you build this, you're going to be the one living with it. So I just tell you what we do, and if it works for you, awesome. And if not, awesome, because you can say, no, I don't like what he's doing. That's okay too. I don't have anything here that I need to declare. I don't ever even mess with these. I would not recommend promoting your listings right off the bat until you have complete control of your fees, complete control of your shipping costs, so you know that you're going to come out okay on it. I do occasionally use the general shipping ones, and a lot of times I'll do 2 or 2.5%. I'll go ahead and turn that on. I don't do this here. You pay per click, and I'm not paying for people to look at my item. I tried this with a good faith effort when it first came out, and I tried it for 1 month, and I spent a ton of money and I certainly didn't have enough sales to cover this, so I don't care for this one. This one I'm on the fence about. If you're like, I hate doing that, don't do it. Like, I don't blame you at all. You will only pay this rate if they bought your listing going through the sponsored ad. You won't pay it if they bought it organically through the regular system. And at this point, we would list it. And that is all there is to listing your first item on eBay. When you get that first one done, you're going to separate yourself from every single person who's still just thinking about it. And that little bit of experience is going to move you miles down the road on understanding how eBay works and how it works, most importantly, how it works for you. So that's it for this video. Truly appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to see you real soon on the next one. Bye.